Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be about triggers and how we experience them as borderlines. For anyone getting tired of their triggers controlling the way that they behave in day-to-day life, I'm here to show you the best way to beat them. The best way to beat your triggers is to know them. In a sense, you have to get to know your enemy. There are two types of triggers that borderlines deal with. Number one is standard triggers, and number two are emotional buttons. Standard triggers are situational triggers, like minor inconveniences that upset us. Some examples could be being caught in traffic, or encountering a rude waiter, or being late to an event. Next, we have emotional buttons. These ones can really mess you up. These are the hard-hitting triggers that give you that sense of unworthiness, abandonment, rejection. An example of this would be like a partner coming home late, somebody breaking up with you, a partner not texting you back, or criticisms from a friend. Now I'm going to show you how to beat these triggers by using examples from my life. For a situational trigger, I'm going to use an example of the time I wanted to learn how to make blueberry pie. And I got super excited. But then I went to the grocery store and no blueberries were to be found. And I thought, what the fuck, Trader Joe's? This led to BPD rage, and I started ranting and raving to myself in my head. I lost sight of picking up the rest of my ingredients. I remember just walking around aimlessly, forgetting what else I needed to buy, and then driving home really angry. And I didn't even make blueberry pie. I just went to bed. So that obviously didn't work. But what I could have done was mindfulness and radical acceptance. I could have just stopped what I was doing really quick, took a deep breath, and moved on, and just focused on things that I could control instead of the things that I couldn't control. This is called turning the mind, which is a form of the DBT exercise, radical acceptance. This is basically the serenity prayer. You know that it sucks that you're in this situation and you accept it. And even if you don't agree with it, you accept that this is your reality. Now that you accept it, you can focus on things you can control. So in this case, I could have said, okay, there's no blueberries, this sucks, but at least I'm here and I can buy the rest of my ingredients. Then I could have focused on buying each item and going to the next store, and then getting home to bake my pie. Another example of using radical acceptance during a standard trigger was the time I was stuck in traffic. I felt this immense hatred for the people in the cars around me, and that BPD rage came up again, and I just felt helpless because it's not like you can fly over everybody and zoom past them. You're kind of just stuck there, and it drove me crazy. So I just yelled at anybody that would cut me off, and I was just going crazy for a little bit. But I realized that there is something that I can control, and eventually I put on one of my favorite songs. So I just kept playing the same song over and over because I'm in my own little world, nobody's here, and I just could have this private concert for myself once I get the lyrics just right. This standard trigger didn't affect me as much as it could have because I used radical acceptance. Now on to the emotional button triggers, the hard-hitting triggers. Let's use an example from my life. So there was a time where I wanted to see a therapist, and my friend found out about it. He made his case about why he disagreed with my decision, and he did it in a respectful way. He wasn't being rude or calling me names or anything. It was just a difference of opinion. But I felt so offended that I started splitting on him. I think that when I favor someone or idealize them, I can't handle it when they disagree with me. And so I started thinking okay, if he's in the right, then I must be wrong. And if I'm wrong, that means I'm stupid. So I just started projecting that he probably thinks I'm stupid. And I felt like an idiot. I personalized this feeling. And I really believed it for the rest of the day, which led to a lot of isolating. And I just took a nap and ignored everyone, which didn't make me feel great. So with these type of triggers, you have to take out the big guns. The big guns are Cbt and journaling. My advice is to write an entry called the Let It Out entry and write down everything that you were thinking. They can be the most unorganized and angry rants. It doesn't matter, just write it all out. And this is your way of expelling any toxic emotions and beliefs onto the page. Here's an example from my journal. I wrote, "How could my friend say that? He sucks. I don't know why he thinks he can tell me what to do. He's ignorant as hell. I don't think we should talk anymore. And I'm a dumbass for telling him about my life." And on the next page, write an opposite action entry. This entry will hone in on the opposite perspective. The logic behind doing this is that you just entertain the negative side of things, and it's only fair to entertain a more positive perspective, or at least a neutral one. Here's an example of my opposite action entry. Well, my friend disagrees with me about going to therapy, but it's probably because he never had anyone in his life who benefited from therapy. Maybe he's just ignorant. And even if that's what he really believes, it doesn't mean I'm wrong for wanting to help myself in my own way. My friend might be more outspoken and he's used to disagreements, whereas I'm not. So this might be why the conversation triggered me. It doesn't mean he's better than me, it just means we have a different background. So in the end, this opposite action entry showed me that my friend, he's human, and it's okay for him to have a different opinion than me, and it doesn't mean that I'm automatically wrong just because he's one of my favorite people. Let me give you another example of your emotional button being pushed, just for good measure. So say that the emotional button has more to do with catastrophizing, like if your partner didn't come home at a certain time and now you're getting worried. So in my journal, I wrote, "My partner is in a car crash and he's dead." Yes, that's really where my mind goes, and my brain is terrible to me. And then you write down the alternative outcomes underneath. List all the alternative realities that could be true right now. My partner was called into a meeting, so he is late. My partner is on the phone and not able to drive right now. My partner is stuck in traffic. The freeways are busy at this time. And keep going until you can't think of any more. Then reread these alternative outcomes, and you'll see that there is a low probability that your catastrophe is true. Here are some preventative measures you can take before a trigger hits. Start the day anticipating the triggers that can come. Hold your CBT and radical acceptance exercises in the forefront of your mind so that you know that you can use them to knock each trigger down one by one. Just think about how in the long run, the CBT work is so much more sustainable and healthy for you. Have someone that you trust on hand who is really great at giving you reality checks. It helps to let them know that you may need them later on in the day for whatever reason, and you'll be okay. You'll have somebody to rely on, but if they're not available, you'll have your CBT. And after a lot of practice, doing CBT will just feel like second nature. It'll also start to feel more natural for you to get over triggers a lot easily. It's true. I've been doing this for a long time now in my recovery, and yeah, I experience triggers. It sucks. I get emotional, but I don't behave in a way that I regret. So that's my public service announcement. Feel free to send me video requests at karmavice87@gmail.com, and I will see you guys in my next video.